Hello everybody and welcome back to Random Vids. As you all know, I'm a big fan of the TV show Super Kitties. It's a great show. It has 2 successful, amazing seasons of Super Kitties, plus a third one that's currently going on. And through watching Super Kitties, I met some really great friends. That of course being Lucas from Button Bambi Super Kitties, as well as a few others, like Mel from Carmelo Wright, as well as Star from Star Stories, plus many others. So shout out to all you guys, by the way. Now, today, it's time that we review another story from Super Kitties. Of course, a fan-made story done by Lucas, Star, and Mel. So, let's quickly recap what we've talked about so far. Last year we talked about the Bitsy Betrayal, the Caddy's Identity Crisis, as well as the third one, I can't think of it. Basically, almost kind of like Caddy's Identity Crisis Part 2. Something like that. But I reviewed those 3 stories last year, so I do plan on reviewing more stories this year. Are they going to be all bunched together? No. But I figured this is a good time to do our first story. However, this story is a little different than the other ones. It's not exactly following the storyline that they're going on with this Bitsy Betrayal thing. Like, as you know, the other stories that they made kind of went along. They were kind of like part 2 and part 3, you know, chapters of, or episodes, whatever you want to call it, stories to, you know, the first one. This one is just completely different. In fact, it's very similar to the episode Lost Leashes, and that's exactly what this story is going to be called, Lost Leashes. If you didn't know, Lost Leashes is an episode of Super Kitties Season 2. So Lucas, Star, and Mel took it and kind of changed maybe a few little things here and there. So yeah, let's get reading. Also, hope you guys enjoy this video. So let's get reading. Now, unlike the other stories, there actually isn't any videos on this episode. So instead, we're going to be looking right off of my phone. So let's get started. The episode starts, and our kitties are downstairs in their little hangout area. I blanked out, I forget what it's called. And they're all practicing yarn ball practices. Basically, if you were living under a rock and somehow didn't know, one of their powers is that they can shoot out yarn balls from their wrists. Well, from their suits, but attached to their wrists. So as the Super Kitties are practicing their yarn balls, they notice that Sparks is not nearby, and instead he's off in the corner playing a video game, just like the actual episode. They tell Sparks that obviously he missed his turn, so while a little upset, he figures that he can probably just, you know, do it now. Because here's the thing, he loves playing his game, but he doesn't like getting distracted by it, if you know what I mean. But, you know, once you're playing a fun video game, it is hard to put it down. And unfortunately, our little Bengal kitty he's just having too much fun with this video game in this episode. Now, something that's different already is Sparks' parents are in this episode. So Lucas and I believe Star and Mel came up with Sparks' parents. So his mom's name is Bridget, and then his dad's name is Hendrix, I believe. Other than that, this is basically very similar to the actual Super Kitties episode. Next, we pan over to see what our main villain is doing for this episode, aka Mr. Puppy Paws. Just like the actual episode, Mr. Puppy Paws is the main villain in that episode as well. So, and very similar to that episode, Mr. Puppy Paws is excited to go on a walk when his human returns. It's kind of funny how Mr. Puppy Paws is the only main villain to have a human. Isn't that kind of funny? Well, I guess the Glamsters do now too, but yeah, that's kind of interesting when you think about it. However, when Mr. Puppy Paws Human returns, he returns with a brand new toy for Mr. Puppy Paws. And just like Sparks, he gets very interested in this brand new toy. So interested that he doesn't want to go for a walk anymore. Mr. Puppy Paws Human walks away, seeing how much fun he's having with his new toy. However, Mr. Puppy Paws is having so much fun with this toy that he doesn't even want to go on a walk anymore. In fact, he wants to take it a step further and get rid of all the leashes in Kittydale. Starting with his, of course, and then all the others. Now, another thing to note about these stories is that Lucas, Star, and Mel all have their own characters in the stories too. I'm pretty sure it's Lucas, Star, and Sophie. I believe that's what their names are. Sophia. So now we get the introduction to Spark's parents, to, Lucas, Star, and Sophia. And then, gasp, it's the Super Kitty call. So we get the little montage of the Super Kitties going, well, I guess they're already down in their little cave, so transforming into superheroes, seeing who's on the kitty comm, etc., etc. I mean, you see this in basically every episode. Except, of course, for this episode, Sparks is even too busy playing this game to even stand in the light spotlight when the singer announces his name. So eventually, when the Super Kitties leave their cavern to go stop Mr. Puppy Paws, they end up finding him in the park. That he ended up stealing a whole bunch of different dog leashes. Basically just like the episode. The Super Kitties asked to get the leashes back from Mr. Puppy Paws, but of course, he says no. So we now get the montage of the Super Kitties and Lucas, Star, and Sophia chasing Mr. Puppy Paws through town. Once again, something that you kind of see in a lot of different episodes, which of course does make sense. Something that is noteworthy is when Bitsy pounces on Mr. Puppy Paw's toy by accident, and it says, "Who's a good doggy?" and Bitsy just says "arf" in confusion. It's cute. I don't remember if she did that in the episode or not, but if so, it's cute. Then eventually, just like the episode, everyone, including, the brand new people in this story, that being, of course, Star, Lucas, and Sophia, as well as Bridget and Hendrix, end up surrounding Mr. Puppy Paw so he can't escape. And, of course, one of the key moments of the episode is Mr. Puppy Paws noticing Sparks being distracted on his video game. So Mr. Puppy Paws makes a grand escape in his direction when Sparks isn't paying attention. Then when Sparks realizes what he's done, he of course is upset about it, and all the kitties end up going to give Sparks a hug, as well as his parents, and most likely the humans as well. I mean, I don't see why not. Who wouldn't love to give Sparks a hug? He is just too darn cute. So when they finally catch up to Mr. Puppy Paws again, he has since thrown the leashes. So the only one who can save the leashes is Sparks, because he can fly. So he gets into supercharged mode, since, keep in mind, this is a Season 2 episode. And he then flies off to save the leashes, even avoiding his video game, which good for him. Then, of course, Sparks gets the leashes and flies them back down to the ground, just like the episode. So then, of course, the Super Kitties tell Mr. Puppy Paws what he did was not okay. Then Lassie appears out of thin air. Just kidding. I just wanted to throw that in there because that was funny. Because it is kind of true. Lassie wasn't really in the story much until this moment, from what I remember at least. But anyway, Lassie appears out of thin air. Thankfully that her and Hendrix got walked already before, Mr. Puppy Paws stole their leashes. And of course, like always, Mr. Puppy Paws tells the Super Kitties why he took the leashes. In this case being that he wanted to play with his boppy ball, I mean. So of course Sparks tells Mr. Puppy Paws about his experience of putting down something that he doesn't want to put down. I mean, it is definitely a really great message, especially for kids. So they return all the leashes to everybody, and they can now be walked by their humans again. Then, of course, just like all the other episodes, Bitsy pulls out her tablet to tell everybody about what the message was of the episode. She then puts it away and then winks at the camera, just like all the other episodes. Then the episode ends with all of them doing a big cat pile. I don't know if Bridget also joined, or who knows, but it doesn't necessarily say, since she is also a cat in their stories. And just like that, the episode ends, just like, the actual Super Kitties episode. So this story was different than the other ones that we've reviewed. This one actually is an actual episode of Super Kitties, that of course being Lost Leashes. But they did add their little changes and stuff to them, mainly adding characters like Bridget and Hendrix, which is their version of Sparks and I guess Buddy's parents, which is cool. And of course Star, Lucas, and Sophia in the Super Kitty land as well, just like all the other stories. but it isn't one of those episodes that is tied to the story that they're going with like the Bitsy betrayal and the Caddy's identity crisis and stuff. So it is a little different, but hey, that's totally fine. If they want to do a review, if they want to do a story of their own, even if it is basically the same story as Lost Leashes, then that's totally fine. You know, you guys do what you want to. You guys do what you want to do. And personally, I mean, the Lost Leashes episode is a pretty good episode as well. I mean, it's not one of my absolute favorites, but it is a good one overall, and I'm glad to see, you know, people use that episode in some fun, creative ways. Now, I was originally going to upload this video a few weeks ago on the actual anniversary for Lost Leashes, but I wasn't ready yet, so about a little over a week later, I'm now ready. I'm now ready, or 2 weeks later, I mean. It's a little over 2 weeks, actually. So, I promised it to come out in March. But anyway, Lucas, Star, and Mel, you guys did a fantastic job with the story, even if it was just, you know, a story that was already in Super Kitties. You guys did a great job, as always. Shout out to you guys. I hope you guys continue to create fun stories based off of the Super Kitties, plus any other crossover character or characters you guys, of course, made up. So, with that, shout out to all three of you guys for, of course, creating the story. And I hope you guys enjoyed this Super Kitties review of Lost Leashes. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.